you probably will be sued. That's just the reality. Or if not sued, at least somebody will ultimately threaten you with a lawsuit. Hi, this is Randy Kirk. This is Small Business Daily, and I'm sorry. I don't want to be the deliverer of bad news, but the truth is we live in a litigious society that has massive numbers of rules that are bearing down on our shoulders. And in particular, those rules sometimes involve employees and involve people around you that you love and trust, and that sometimes are not loving or trustworthy. So we've called Mike Schechter to join us today on the show. Hi, Mike.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, Randy.
And Mike was with us yesterday. And yesterday, we took the time to really look at it from the owner's perspective of being sued or suing or trying to avoid lawsuits by doing a bunch of proactive things, like making sure your contracts are properly designed, making sure your company is properly set up as a sub S or sub C, making sure your patents and trademarks and copyrights, all those kinds of things. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in front proactively to make sure that you're unlikely to be sued and more likely to be protecting the things that you own. That's what the law is all about, after all. It's a business, it's a property management methodology. You own property, and other people may want to try to take that property from you. Your goal through legal means is to keep that from happening. So, but today we're gonna change subjects, but I want to stop for a second. If this content makes good sense to you, you think it's going to be helpful in running your business, would you push the like button and then subscribe? And then if you'd like to be reminded that the next day there's going to be yet another show on Small Business Daily, push the notify and you'll get notification. So Mike, today we want to talk about a kind of an unusual idea that you presented to me that I hadn't really thought about before. I knew that Legal Shield has a way of providing this insurance, or sorry, it's not insurance, prepaid legal services to the employees of a company at little cost to them, or possibly no cost, but certainly at no cost to the employer. And what was a shock to me was the way that this could benefit the employer in ways I had never thought of, because when an employee is in trouble legally, it can affect their performance. Can you talk to our audience out there a little bit about that?
Yeah. So just to fill our viewers in, yesterday we talked about our plan that covered the business as an entity and the business owner, and to help them to protect their business, but also grow their business. But another aspect of helping to grow their business or increasing productivity is typically an employee is your largest asset for any business, right? But can also, Randy, be your greatest liability, if you know what I mean. Because if an employee is burdened with issues, problems, they bring that to work. Now all of a sudden they're focused on the problems and not on their job performance. And so what we do is we have a plan.
Well, Mike, back up just a second. What I was fascinated by was the list. I don't know if you have the whole list, but I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought of all those things and how impactful they might be on performance. Can you share a few of those?
So absolutely. So there's a bunch of things that affect worksite performance, and there's issues with reduced productivity, like I mentioned before, employee issues, employees working remotely. There's leave and turnover. And so what I was saying was that if an employee comes to work and filled with problems, they're not focused. So they have quality control errors. They could have worksite accidents. They could be absent because they're taking care of legal issues or anything that's legal related. Our program extends to the entire family. So if little Johnny has a legal issue, then mommy or daddy has to take time off to tend to something like that. Or if they're on the phone at work, that affects productivity. I mean, let's ask ourselves a question. How many times have you at 5 o'clock in the afternoon reflect back and said, I didn't get a single thing done today. I couldn't focus. I wasn't there. I was there physically, but I wasn't there mentally. Right. And so a lot of employees, if you have a few employees or you have 10, 20, 50 or more, that can add up, right? Because employees' productivity affects your bottom line.
Sure. I mean, I was thinking, just thinking back on my own companies over the years, divorce definitely, the threat of divorce and or the divorce itself dramatically affects the employee. Childcare issues, child visitations, or issues with regard to after the divorce, with the way that's happening. I was thinking about, I've had employees that had their kids that were drug addicted, or even their spouses had, issues with drugs of various kinds. Other kinds of medical issues that their spouses might have been going through that might have had legal ramifications. I mean, it was mind-boggling to me to start thinking about how many times. Oh, even I've had a couple of employees that went to jail. I mean, they were doing stuff on the outside that they shouldn't have been doing, and all of a sudden they're in jail. So basically, if my employees had the confidence or the security of knowing that they could pick up the phone and call a lawyer in any of those kinds of circumstances, they'd be grateful that I suggested it, but also B, potentially more secure when they came to work that things were being handled.
Right. And that's an excellent point. Let's just talk about a few of those examples. And Randy mentioned divorce, child custody, child support, immigration. There are people who are trying to get status.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Then there's issues with school, children in school. The plan does cover the whole family, children up to the age of 26, and spouse, significant other. Generating a will. We talked about that yesterday, about getting a will. People are worried about COVID. There's liability in the workplace about one person infecting another. I don't want to come to work. I want to continue to work remote. Well, we need you here. We need the work done. So there's that. What's your legal options for something like that?
So now the economy, I'm just going to switch subjects a little bit here real quick. The economy is on fire. For this day that we're recording this, I think it was reported 750,000 new employees went to work last month. We're coming out of COVID maybe, but whether we are or aren't, the economy's on fire. And getting new employees to come to work for you is really hard, and retaining your employees and keeping them from going someplace else is huge. I was with my son over the weekend, and he was saying that he's got so many offers of jobs, it's unbelievable. And that some of the things that people are offering him now are gym memberships and other kinds of benefits that he would, I know, not only X amount of vacation, but a stipend of cash to take the vacation with. How's that one? I never got that offer when I was looking for work. So if I'm an employer and I want to hold on to the employees I have, and I want to encourage new employees to come to work for me, the more benefits outside of payroll that I can offer, usually the more likely I am to retain those employees. So this is one possible benefit. So talk about how the benefit part of it works.
Yeah, so this is a very unique benefit. Even though we've been around for 50 years, most people have not heard of Legal Shield or the concept of offering group legal plans. By the way, when you offer this as an employer, you get a discount off of the open marketplace. So if the small business owners watching this program, they can make this available to their employees at no cost. And then the owner as well gets a discounted rate, about 20% off the normal open market rate.
Now let's be clear. Just a minute ago, you said at no cost to the employer.
Correct. Very good. That's a good distinction. The The employee will pay for this and gladly out of their own pocket because they need this. Everybody has crap going on in their lives right now. And at $300-400 an hour, there is no recourse. 95% of the people in this country can't afford an hourly rate for an attorney. But with Legal Shield, you pay a few dollars a month. Actually, for our discounted rate, it's about it could be about $5 or $6 a week off of payroll deduction, and you could offer this. If you wanted to, like Randy was talking about, giving them gym memberships or stipends or paid vacation, you could even offer this, and it's not much money at all. By the way, when the employee or the member utilizes these legal plans, they get a discount. We call something called member perks, where they're part of a program. Since Legal Shield is such a large, we're about a $1.5 billion company, we've negotiated with about 200 retailers and vendors to get discounts. So if you're a Legal Shield member, you go through the app, you go through that portal, and you're going to get discounts on travel, cell phone service, TV, apparel, educational stuff, university, all kinds, concert tickets, just by being a Legal Shield member. And typically you'll get that money back and more. A family of four can save about $40 a month just by utilizing that member perks program.
How interesting. Yeah. So basically you have an HR offer here. This is, not only is the president of the company interested in this conversation, but the HR person is interested in this because they're trying to incentivize people, make them feel really good about the work, the place they're working on these, especially really large corporations. But I got to tell you, in our mastermind groups, and we have plenty of employers who have 2, 3, 4 employees who are struggling to keep those people on the job, struggling to keep them with the company because they're being offered all kinds of money by companies that are also struggling to find enough employees in this current market. Moreover, okay, now I want to attract somebody to come to work for me, and how many benefits can I offer compared to the guy down the street who may be offering all kinds of great benefits? Right. So it's a struggle out there, and for $4 or $5 a week, this would seem to be almost a no-brainer, whether the employee pays, whether the employer pays. But right. Either way, it really makes the HR department look good, makes the company look good, that they care enough to be part of something like this.
Yeah, and that's good. I wanted to finish that thought on recruitment and retention. It's a great tool. Like I said, we've been around a long time. We are a partner with SHRM, which is the Society of Human Resource Management. Uh-huh. So most people are familiar with that association. It does help with retaining employees and then bringing new ones on, because this is a differentiator. Just to let you know, Randy, we also have a program called ID Shield, and that's a very robust identity theft protection program. So it protects the employee and their family, particularly if they have children. We have child identity theft is quite prevalent. We are a gold award winner in the cybersecurity space. With it, as an employer, there's inherent liability for data breaches and ransomware and cybersecurity attacks, all those type of things. So, and by the way, if you are a victim of identity theft, 95% of the time you're being accused of something you didn't do, or you're being denied a line of credit or privileges, and you're probably going to have to get a lawyer because you're in big trouble. So that's the way those work together.
So that is a separate policy, or is it different levels of the same policy?
So Legal Shield and ID Shield are separate, but when you bundle them together as an employee benefit, you get a discount off that bundle.
Got it. Very, very, very cool. Yeah. Okay. So basically, over the last couple of days, we talked about how the employer has his own set of significant potential legal issues. Believe me, when Kmart went bankrupt a number of years ago, it was a very big deal to my company to not get that next check that we were expecting from Kmart, paying for goods we'd already shipped them. So there's all kinds of legal issues that we're faced with every day as employers. And so there's a legal shield approach for making a small monthly payment that covers huge amounts of that legal exposure, and also benefits you up front by proactively dealing with things like how you create invoices and things of that nature. That's what we covered yesterday. If you want to go back and take a look at that program yesterday. And then today we've been talking about the employee. And of course, the employee has legal issues. And but the legal issue that they have can interfere with their performance in the workforce because they're upset by it, or they're distracted by it, right, or they're financially having difficulties as a result of it. So here's a potential for the company to come to the rescue, to be the good guy, to provide a benefit that is really going to help the employee and potentially keep that employee on staff, or encourage a new employee to come. Mike, it's been great to have you. I think there may be opportunities in the future to have you back.
Yeah. I want to make one quick
point. Go ahead.
Employee error. Let's look at the Ever Given, right? That ship that was stuck.
Yeah.
Costing $5 or $10 billion a day. Now, again, that's an extreme example, but it disrupted the entire world's economy. And there was something a few weeks ago about a Citibank employee who had wired, I think, $500 million, and legally they couldn't get it back. The transaction went through. And so you can look that up online. But these are things that can have a huge impact on your operation when your employees are distracted and they're not focused.
You're absolutely right. Thanks again, Mike. We appreciate having you here, folks. If you like the content today, please push like. If you'd like to subscribe, do that for sure. And then maybe you'd like to be notified of our next program. I don't know for sure what we're doing tomorrow. So if you want to see what we're doing tomorrow, you just have to come back and check in. But for today, I just want to say, see you later. This is Randy Kirk with Small Business Daily.